Hello and welcome to Mathematics with Mr. Khumalo. If it's your first time here, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you get notified when I drop the next video. In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to solve for x or how to solve for the unknown. Without wasting time, let's take a look. Right, so on the board, I have four algebraic equations that I want us to solve. Right, ranging from easy to difficult, depending also on the grade that you are in. So when you are solving for x, you are basically also trying to find x or trying to find the value of x. And I am going to teach you the steps on how to find the value of x, especially when you are having a more complicated sum like this one over here. Right, so now the first thing that we need to understand that when we are solving for x, x could have been any other letter, it could have been any other variable, it could have been b, it could have been a. The point is that letter or variable stands for the unknown or a value that we need to find. Now, when we solve for x, we need to get rid of the numbers around x. In this case, we have a -1 next to x that we need to get rid of. Now, when you get rid of this -1, you will have to add a +1. Why? Because -1 plus a +1 gives you 0. But remember, what you do on the left hand side, you also have to do on the right hand side. So now, x minus 1, so now I add +1 is equals to 7. So what did I do on the left hand side? I added a +1. So on the right hand side, I add a +1. So -1 plus 1 is equals to 0. So basically this is 1 minus 1, which is 0. So we want x alone on the left hand side or right hand side of our equation, and then we can solve for x. So now this will cancel out or will be 0. So we now having x is equals to 7 plus 1, which is equals to 8. And that was easy also in this particular case to tell from the beginning that x is equals to 8 because 8 minus 1 is equals to 7. So whenever, regardless of how complicated the problem is, whenever you solve for x, go back and substitute your final answer into the original equation, for example. So you substitute x with 8 and then calculate the left hand side should equal to the right hand side, and then this will tell you that your answer is correct. In our second example again, as you can see, I've just added a layer. Right now, instead of just x minus 1 equals to 7, I have 2x minus 1 is equals to 7. So now we are having a negative number. We are having another number multiplied by x. So 2x also means 2 multiplied by x. So once again, first you get rid of the negative or the positive number that you have over here. So if you have a negative number, you will add an opposite number that is the same. So if you have -1, you will add +1. If you have +2, you will add -2. So they can cancel each other out, and then you can eventually be left with x. So now here we're having 2x minus 1 plus 1 is equals to 7 plus 1. So I've added +1 on the left hand side, so I add +1 on the right hand side. So -1 and +1 will cancel each other out because 1 minus 1 is equals to 0. And now we are left with 2x is equals to 7 plus 1, which gives us 8. So we are not done because we still need to get rid of these 2 over here. So whenever a number is multiplied with a variable, you need to divide with that number on both sides of your equal sign in order to get rid of that number. Why do I divide? Because 2x means 2 multiplied by x. What is the opposite of multiplication? Division. So now we are going to divide. So we're going to divide the left-hand side with 2, and we are going to divide the right-hand side with 2. 2 divided by 2 is equals to 1. So basically on the left-hand side now we are left with 1x, which is equals to 8 divided by 2 gives you 4. So that means in this particular expression or equation, our value of x is equals to 4. And you can always go back to the original equation, substitute 4, calculate the left-hand side, and see that it's equal to the right-hand side. So if I were to substitute x with 4, then this becomes 2 times 4 is 8. Again, 8 minus 1 is equals to 7. The left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. In our third problem, again, I've added another layer. So we still have 2x minus 1 is equals to 7, but now I've added x squared. So there is a different layer that we need to be able to get rid of. So now, again, you start with your negative or positive number that you have over there or next to x. So now we have 2x squared minus 1 plus 1 is equals to 7 plus 1. So whatever you add or do on the left-hand side, you also do on the right-hand side. So now I'm going to be left with 2x squared is equals to 8. Now I get rid of the multiplied number, which is 2. So because it's multiplied, I divide by 2 on the left-hand side, and I do the same on the right-hand side. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So now I'm left with x squared, or x to the power of 2. 8 divided by 2 on the right-hand side is equals to 4. But I'm not done, because still x is not on its own. We still have another number that we need to get rid of. So if you look at your exponents and your square roots, when you are getting rid of an exponent in this case, you need to take the square root of both sides. So if you take the square root of the left hand side and the square root of the right hand side plus minus over here, remember with our square root sign, you have your square root sign and your cube root sign. With our square root sign, basically there's a 2 over here. But we don't write it in mathematics. There's a 2 over here. So what basically happens over here is that you have 2x to the power of 2. If you were to rewrite this, it would be x to the power of 2 over 2, which is equals to x to the power of 1, which is equals to the power of x. So that is what is happening mathematically. So if you take the square root of a squared number, this leaves us with x in this case is equals to, now the square root of 4, the square root of 4 is, now under the brackets 4 would be 2 multiplied by 2, which means the square root of 4 is equals to 2. So now what we are having here is plus or minus 2, which tells us x is equals to positive 2 or x is equals to negative 2. And you need to go and double check. If you go to your original equation and you substitute the number 2 or you substitute negative 2, the left hand side should equal to the right hand side. Now you try number 4. You have 3x squared plus 2 is equals to 20. I hope you tried the last problem, number 4, and you were a great success. So you had to get rid of the 2, you had to get rid of this 3 over here and the 2 over here, similar to what we had in number 3. So here we are going to have 3x squared plus 2. So I need to get rid of this positive 2, so I add a negative 2. Then whatever I do on the left hand side, I also do on the right hand side. So I will also add on the right hand side a negative 2. Now we have 3x squared is equals to, so 2 minus 2 is equals to 0, so it falls away. We are left with 3x squared is equals to 20 minus 2, which gives us 18. Right, now we need to get rid of the 3. 3 is multiplied with the x. The opposite of multiplication is divide. So we divide the left-hand side and the right-hand side with 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So we are left with 1x squared is equals to, and 18 divided by 3 gives us 6. Now we have x squared is equals to 6. So in order to get rid of this 2 over here, we need to take the square root of both sides. Right, so now over here, as I've explained before, we are going to be left with x is equals to plus minus, and now with this particular one, it is not easy to figure it out in the same way as I have done over here, or with a number such as 9, where you can say 3 times 3. There is no number that you can multiply with itself such that you get 6. So now, if you were to put this on your calculator, it would give you 2,44, and then the number is long and it goes on, and you will just have to write your answer according to what they have asked you. Maybe they said to you, round off your answer to 2 decimal places or to 3 decimal places, whatever the case may be. So in this particular case, they would tell you to round off the number to a particular place. So I'm just going to write my x value as plus minus 2,44, which means x is either a positive 2,44 or x is equal to a negative 2,44. So if you put this on your calculator and find the square root, you'll see that it's a long number, and that gives you the exact value of x if you have not been asked to round off, but most likely that's what will be asked of you. You can go and substitute that back into the original equation, and the left-hand side should equal to the right-hand side. So we won't always expect our answers to just be as clear as this one over here. We need to expect that our answers can also come in a form of maybe a decimal number, for example. We have come to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, and share the video. And remember, practice makes improvement.